Hey y'all, it's May the 30th, 2017, and you guys, I just uploaded a video, and the topic matter of the video was a little boy who I know, who 100% all day long is going to be absolutely put on psychotropic drugs before long, right? It's just a matter of time. I made a video about him, telling a story about him, alright, and with that in mind, in that vein, I want to go ahead and slide into this video. First of all, I want to let you know that this video in particular is dedicated to my dude out there, Tim Alexander. Alright, you know who you are. My dude, Tim Alexander, is dedicated to you. I told you I would, and so I am. Alright. I want to talk about the psychotropic drugs that I know that this boy is going to be put on regardless. I want to talk a little bit about those because, see, I have friends and colleagues and people who I know out there in the field, and they're right now, they're in the process of making videos pertaining to psychotropic drugs, and they're making films, and they're doing documentaries, and they're doing this and that. I have multiple friends out there doing it. So, with that in mind, here's my problem. Here's where you're going to see us kind of differing as far as the whole topic of this psychotropic drugs, because mind you that we're going to agree on most of it, on 95% of what you're talking about in your documentaries and your videos. We're going to agree. I've seen the statistics that you're going to put up. I've seen the numbers and the instances. We're going to agree 95% of the time, but I want to draw your attention to the 5% of the time where we're not going to agree. Right? To me, that's kind of the most pertinent. The 5% where we're not going to agree is who is to blame? Who's to blame here? Because let's think about it. If we're all trying to get some justice, trying to get justice for these people, if that's what we're trying to do, then inevitably someone's going to get blamed. Alright, so at the end of the day, we're all searching for someone to blame. Who's responsible for the fact that some people get on these pills and they go and they murder suicide? I mean, I'm talking about every mass shooting in America as of the past 10 years. They're all going to have a common denominator, believe it or not. So who is to blame? I believe this is 5% that we're going to disagree on, because who is to blame is us. According to me, we as individuals are to blame. And the reason for this is the internet's been around for a long time now. We have all sort of information and sharing, and we have all sort of, we're growing powerful because of this, because of the information that we share. It's a renaissance, right? So who's to blame? I would say that would be us, because for a long time, for well over a decade, have I known personally that psychotropic drugs ain't nothing to play with at all. Not nothing to play with. And a lot of people have known it for quite some time. Right? A lot of people, you would understand that there's some people who do not, to this day, have any clue as to the effects and the behaviors that are sometimes expressed by people who are on these psychotropic drugs or getting off these psychotropic drugs. Alright. I get a weird feeling that these folks who I know are going to try to blame or attempt to blame either A, the doctors who prescribe the drugs, or B, the pharmaceutical companies who created the drugs. Alright. I get a sneaky suspicion that that's who they're going to blame, and I understand why, because it's very logical. I mean, that's where the drugs came from. That's who administered the drugs. You might want to blame these two factions. But the thing is, at the end of the day, what I have to drive home for everybody today is that we're to blame. We are, as individuals, us individuals are to blame for this, right? Because we should know better, but we don't. And little children, there's no way that they would know better. Their parents and their guardians should be looking after them in such a way that they should know better. They should understand that these drugs sometimes cause people to murder suicide. It's not rare. It's not a rare thing. Alright, so the blame, in my opinion, and holler if you hear me or whatever, the blame, in my opinion, should go on us as individuals. It shouldn't go on the doctors. It shouldn't go on the pharmaceutical companies because the thing is, that's not going to get us anywhere in the end. Oh, what, are you going to sue the doctors? It'll get some money? Oh, that's great. You're going to sue the pharmaceutical companies, get some money? Oh, that's great. Guess what? There's still going to be doctors. And there's still going to be pharmaceutical companies, dude. You're not going to change nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Unfortunately, I've seen nothing happen for a while now. Nothing's going to happen except some people are going to get some money changed hands. Alright? So that's not going to get us nowhere. That's not going to get us any sort of justice. Who's to blame? That would be us. Alright? Because us as grown-ups, like I said, we should know better. We should know better by now. We have the internet. We should understand that these drugs may cause us to murder, suicide ourselves and others. It's common knowledge. And we're going to have children out there suffering from PTSD and all sort of stuff, and we're going to pop them on pills, and we should know better. We should watch them for this murder-suicidal behavior and then get them the hell off these pills because they're not working. Right? The responsibility, if we're going to have justice at all, is going to be placed on us as people. What I want to explain also, and throw this out there, is there's some people who do not care. You can put two mountains of evidence in front of them about how this might be something you might be aware of. You might want to take precaution when giving these little pills to little children and stuff. You might want to think twice about it. Right? There's people out there who ain't gonna think twice about it. Right? You're not gonna reach them. That's what I'm trying to explain. There's people out here, you're not going to reach them with two mountains of evidence. Does not matter how much evidence you have, you're not going to reach them. They're still going to do it. They're still going to turn around and start blaming others when tragedies happen. Dude, they're going to be trying to blame everybody else but not themselves. Right? It's not that person. It's not the person putting their children on the pills who's to blame. In fact, you know what? 2017 says it is their fault, right? And grown people should know better. They should understand the absolute dangers that are going into the drugs that they're taking. But they don't. Some of them don't want to know. They'll never want to know. Right? You're never going to reach these people. And it sounds sad, and in a way it is, but we just need to meditate on the fact that this is common knowledge at this point. Right? We've been known the dire consequences that can happen from people who just kind of go all wackadoodle on these dang pharmaceutical prescription psychotropic drugs. Alright, I want to drive that home real quick. Right? I want people to really meditate on that, and no matter what it is video that you're making, no matter the film, the documentary that you're making right now, understand that there's people out there who don't want to know. Alright, because that causes some sort of effort that they would have to put in. They would have to be more considerate of young children. They would have to, you know what I'm saying? They would have to be more concerned with others than themselves. There's some people who don't want to know, and you're not going to reach them, unfortunately. Right? I'm on your side. That don't mean to say that I do, like I said, this video has been dedicated to Tim Alexander. I wanted to holler at you real quick. Tim Alexander, and I left a link. You can go to the video. You don't have to watch the video, of course, but if you go to the feed, you'll be able to catch up on everything what I'm talking about right now. But Tim Alexander, recently, he made a request that I publicly apologize to my 10 viewers. First of all, I have more than 10 viewers. Obviously, I have a low amount of viewers. It doesn't matter. What I want to explain, and I've explained it before, is I don't care about the number of viewers. The idea is that I get the right viewers. And of course, I got Tim Alexander, and I'm happy about that. I also got Selena Gomez out there. I'm happy about that too. But anyways, Tim Alexander, he requested that I publicly apologize because here's the thing. I called Cedric Anderson out, the guy who shot his wife in the elementary school in the head with .357 Magnum and shot some kids up. I called him gender confused, and then later on I called Tim Alexander, who is the cousin of the lady who got shot in the head. I called him gender confused. Alright, and Tim Alexander wants me to publicly apologize to my 10 viewers about that. And Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I apologize, man. And I'm being very serious. I'm not being sarcastic at all. I publicly apologize, and I do mean it. All right, because and you could see the evidence for this. Tim Alexander, if you dig into his channel, and I only did some elementary digging. I haven't dug so far. I have a lot of things that I'm doing, but Tim Alexander, he isn't as gender confused as I had originally thought he was. And for that reason, I do have to apologize because I was wrong. And sometimes you get some stuff wrong. You have to understand that when you're on the internet, sometimes you get some stuff wrong because you're living by the seat of your pants. And so when you do get stuff wrong, go ahead and apologize for that. And that's what I'm doing. I apologize because Tim Alexander isn't as quite as gender confused as I had originally thought. In fact, he's actually pretty cogent. I would have to say that he's above average, in my opinion. He's an above average dude as far as knowing that there is plenty of gender confusion going on in our society right now, and it does need to be checked. I would say Tim Alexander is above average as far as knowing about the gender confusion. That all being said, of course, we do have our differences, me and Tim Alexander, like in the fact that you're not never going to give your children two moms. Your children never have two moms, right? Just in the same way as they can't have two dads, just in the same way as they can't have two gods, right? One's going to be more better than the other. It's always going to happen. Things like that, moving in with your wife, these are differences that we have. And I would call it gender confusion. Meanwhile, if you were to analyze my life very closely and see all the things, if I was making that many videos, eventually you would find things that you would say are very gender confused about me. I'm sure you would. Because the thing is, we're living in a society that's rife with gender confusion, so sometimes it rubs off on us. None of us are perfect out here. You look at certain things, and if I made enough videos, you might be able to call me out and say, "Oh man, look at this, he's doing this. That's gender confused." And if you tell me about it, I might take that to heart. I might think about that. I might think about changing my ways. Right. So, and in these regards, that's what I want to say. I feel like Tim Alexander is gender confused about these certain things, and but moreover, we're complicit, and we're very in sync when it comes to the fact that there is gender confusion around us, and we need to battle to avoid this gender confusion. Me and Tim Alexander have a lot in common. All right, a lot more than I thought. Right. And like I said, for that, I do want to apologize, and I mean it. I'm not just, saying, I really do mean it. But I apologize. But at the same time, you see the things that I disagree with you about. All right, we're going to have differences. We're going to disagree. And a lot of times, here's what I want to explain, before we get out of here about the First Amendment and stuff. A lot of times what I say to people is going to seem very harsh. And I mean for it to sound kind of harsh. It's just kind of my style. It is going to sound harsh, right? But what I want to explain for y'all out there is if that I give you the time of day. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm some sort of egotistical, person out there, who deserves attention. What I'm saying is if I give you the time of day, for more than 2 or 3 comments, understand that I respect you. I absolutely have respect for you. I might be saying mean things. I might be saying things that you very much disagree with, but of course I got respect for you because if I didn't, I wouldn't even spend the time, right? What I want to acknowledge is that the beauty of the First Amendment is that these are all words. I'm definitely not going to find you, try to hurt you. I don't want anything bad for you. I do want to say whatever words I want, and you can say whatever words you want at me. Thing is, in certain respects, I consider you a colleague of mine, right? Everyone out there, and if I happen to come to your videos and tell you some stuff and you didn't like that stuff, and we have a conversation and I say mean things and harsh things, what I'm trying to say is that I do consider you a colleague. You're my peer. There's people out there who aren't on our level, all right, who just keep their mouth shut, and they need to keep their mouth shut because they don't have nothing to say. But I have a certain respect for y'all out there. All right, and always remember that. We're going to have certain differences, and I'm going to say some things that are harsh and mean. But You're my colleague, you're my peer, and I got respect for you. And I do apologize for when I get some stuff wrong. And anyways, I'll holler at y'all later. May the 30th, 2017, with balls deep within the tribulation, you guys. I'll holler at y'all.